What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Ango Show. It is September 2nd, 2025. I am Ango. I'm joined by Billy TKO, and today we are live. We are back in business, and I am excited about that for a variety of reasons. Dude, Billy, what a crazy. We haven't been live in a minute,
No,
but
we
it's
have
been
not.
pretty crazy. It's been pretty crazy. I think wrestling has definitely stepped up a lot
Since
since
we've been live.
SummerSlam,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
which is good because I feel like it's definitely put me in a different mood. Um, what are you feeling? Obviously, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about it with the chat. We're going to be interacting. We are live on YouTube and Twitter, and obviously you're live on your channel and everything too.
Yep.
But just so much has changed. What's your feeling going into wrestling right now as we go into fall season?
Dude, I'll tell you what, I'm loving everything that is currently happening. I think WWE in particular has been picking up. Obviously, the last time we spoke, we were both, I think, in some cases, a little bit like, oh man, like what's it gonna look like? What's it gonna look like? Et cetera, et cetera. I'll tell you what, man, I have been a personal fan of everything that they're doing in the main event scene over on Monday Night Raw. Obviously, it sucks that Cody hasn't been available as of recent. We haven't seen him much, so we miss Cody Rhodes. But at the end of the day, man, like I love everything that WWE is doing, and in some cases, you can make arguments that AEW is really starting to pick up. Like wrestling is in a really healthy place right now, and I'll say that confidently. You know, if anybody feels a little bit different, well, let's talk about it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's definitely weird. I've definitely been in a lot better mood towards wrestling as of late, and I know you've just had a lot of stuff going on too that's kind of like prevented you from doing the live show at
Yeah,
12, and
yeah.
it's I miss that feeling because like I said, wrestling is starting to pick up, and I miss that feeling of us just kind of like shooting the shit and talking about it.
Dude, me
So
too. I miss it all the time, man. Miss shooting the shit. Miss just being able to sit here, kick it, hang out, talk pro wrestling. Like you said, man. Yeah. Sadly, some personal things, family, have prevented me as of recent. Some big changes in my life and stuff like that. So we're getting acclimated and we're gonna figure this thing out. You know what I mean?
yeah, for sure, and dude, it's crazy too because I feel like right now we're at the pinnacle of like it's starting to feel like on the road to WrestleMania, and maybe I'm crazy, but we're not on the road to WrestleMania. We're
Nope.
we're actually on the road to WrestlePalooza and All Out, which I feel like this time of the year is when I actually start to feel the burnout from professional wrestling. I feel like maybe this is the time of the year where it's like, okay, can we get to the Royal Rumble? But instead, WWE has me saying, hey, like, Ango, get excited for WrestlePalooza, get excited for Crown Jewel, get excited for the for Survivor Series, and it's like it's kind of crazy. Like I have a whole different tone, and obviously I want to talk about it because Clash in Paris happened Sunday. I know today is Tuesday. In America, we had Labor Day, so we were gonna come back yesterday, and then we're like, okay, you know what? It's Labor Day. Let's just
Right.
come back Tuesday.
Right.
But when you look at Clash in Paris, when you look at leading up to Clash in Paris, when you look at honestly both companies, WWE and AEW, I've just grown to accept what is different about AEW and WWE, and it's just like I just think WWE has telegraphed better long-term plans, and I think they are more focused long-term than they are in the short term. And me and you have talked about this years ago, where hey, sometimes that could be a problem, right?
For
Sometimes it
sure.
could be you're taking too long to get there, and I feel like right now we're starting to see some of the fruits of WWE's labor of being long term invested, especially with like the Seth Rollins and CM Punk storyline,
Yeah.
um, which, as you know, has been going on for a long ass time.
Yep.
But WWE still finds ways to keep it fresh, and then of course, it just seems like it just seems like right now it's like WWE is stacking the deck, right?
For
Let's just
sure.
call it what it is. AEW All Out is happening September 20th. WrestlePalooza is happening September 20th. This is not a joke. WWE is going all out against all out. And
No pun
I've
intended
said
there.
this before. Billy, how many times have we had this conversation? This is what you need to do. You need to go head to head. You need to have competition because it forces you to put out a better product. And I think WWE has been in a position where they're making me happy as a fan because of the fact that they are actually stepping up. And I think AEW not only forces them to step up, but it has forced AEW to step up,
Correct.
which Yeah, I mean, we'll kind of get into it, but I think obviously the main talking point to begin, we're going to talk about some new WWE signings in a little bit and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
the thing I want to kick off, Billy,
Yeah.
we saw the tease. WWE isn't necessarily hiding it. They're not being. It's not hush hush.
Nope.
Technically, there is no confirmation, but we saw on Raw as well with CM Punk talking to Adam Pearce. Where is SmackDown this Friday? Chicago. I think it's very clear we are headed towards the return of AJ Lee. And me and you have not talked, but we have talked about this about a year ago.
Mhm.
We actually did live streams going into the road to WrestleMania saying, hey, I think it's going to be AJ Lee returning.
Yep.
We've heard rumors that she was on her way back. She's training. She's getting healthy and ready for wrestling. Hey, there's a rumor that she's getting ready. Do you think we see Seth Rollins and CM Punk versus AJ Lee and Becky Lynch, like tag team match? And I remember at that time we talked about it. We thought it was a very good possibility.
For sure.
Now, more than ever, it seems like a very good possibility. I need to get your reaction. Obviously, you're a lifelong CM Punk fan.
Yes.
So I need to hear like your response to that.
I'll tell you what. Everybody's mom is coming home. Good old mother. AJ Lee, in my eyes, I do feel, with all the teases and stuff that WWE has offered as of recent, I do think that they are going to do it. I do think WWE is going to go ahead and pull that trigger, that this is the one thing that WWE's always kind of had in their arsenal, right? They've always kind of had it lingering in their back pocket, at least for the last 2 years since CM Punk came back, because everybody was so excited when Punk came back and was, oh my God, Punk, Punk, Punk. And then immediately following, what happens is things tend to die down, right? They tend to relax a little bit, and then CM Punk just becomes a part of the brand. Well, there is one piece of CM Punk that was always missing, and that one piece being AJ Lee. And it now more than ever, because here's the thing, yes, we have talked about it, and you can go back and look at past live streams that you and I have done. You can go back, you can hear everything that we've discussed and how we've talked about it, blah, blah, blah. Now more than ever, WWE must deliver. It's not WWE needs to deliver. It's not that, oh, they should deliver. No, WWE has to deliver. And the reason why I say that they have to is because the teases have been so heavy, right? CM Punk goes up to Adam Pearce after, Seth and Becky leave the building. Oh, where is it at? Oh, it's in Chicago. Tremendous. Taps him on the shoulder. That, to me, is a signal. And if we talk about my reactions and stuff, I'm literally a live reactor. You can go watch my reactions to Clash in Paris when you heard Seth Rollins say, I hate you and I hate your family. Boom. It was right there in that moment. He had never really brought up Punk's family up until this point. Maybe there had been some things, but never at the degree of I hate them, right? So now more than ever, WWE must deliver. They have no other option. It is AJ Lee or fail here. I've seen people online being like, oh, well, what if they go with Rhea Ripley or Nikki Bella, et cetera, Bailey, whatever. I understand where people are coming from, and you don't want to get your hopes too high. I understand because WWE has, in some cases, let people down. At the end of the day, this is one of those scenarios where I am going to get my hopes up. I'm going to say and put it on my back that this is going to happen, and understand that, okay, when this happens, it is going to be a huge moment. This is the one thing that WWE held in the back of their arsenal, and they have been waiting for this moment for a long time. I can imagine Triple H, Nick Khan, whoever picked up the phone call, called AJ personally, sat down, had a conversation. They worked this out because now they've teased it. It's there. It's in Chicago. It's in CM Punk's backyard, which is now, I know it's not New Jersey, but it's AJ Lee's backyard, right? This is now her backyard. She definitely lives there with her husband.
Yeah.
There you go. Now they have to do it. There's no other option. If they don't, it's a fail. It is a fail in my eyes.
No, I think that's really well said. I think this is where you got to kind of be careful, right? Like we saw what happened with The Rock, right? And The Rock and Travis Scott. And that was such a big letdown for John Cena's heel turn. And so I feel like WWE, there was already a little bit of doom and gloom with that particular storyline where it's like, okay, now you're making the teases obvious with AJ Lee. You have to deliver AJ Lee. If you don't deliver AJ Lee, this is the second massive thing that you've done in the one calendar year. And listen, AEW and WWE, let's just call it what it is. You are going to fuck up sometimes, right?
For sure.
This is the way it is. Sometimes you're not going to be 100% perfect. This is every company. But when you've already had such a big fuck up like the one that you had with The Rock and Travis Scott, basically ruining the the one thing that people were excited about. Because here's the thing, for years and years and years, we were excited about a John Cena heel turn. The heel turn was executed perfectly. The run right after that was kind of shit.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to say shit. It
No.
wasn't. It just wasn't like with the way they did it. It just didn't have a great follow up that made me excited.
Correct.
So
Even,
now
you can even go look at John Cena. He said it. It was a failure
Yeah.
in his eyes.
Yeah. So now when you look at AJ Lee, this is the second thing for a very, very long time we've wanted AJ Lee to come back. If you start teasing it and you start kind of building towards that, you're kind of screwing everybody's hopes and dreams if you don't deliver what you're kind of promising, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I think WWE really can't afford to fuck that up. I think WWE definitely has to be careful here. But I do believe, like, Rhea Ripley's busy. I think, I can't remember who put it in the chat, but I think it's a very good point where it's like Rhea Ripley is busy with Kairi Sane and Io Sky.
For sure.
And,
She's got
and
her
the
own
Asuka
thing going.
They got their own thing going. Nikki Bella and Becky Lynch, I'm sorry, they weren't really that fun to watch at Clash in Paris.
Nope.
The storyline was fine, but I just think the match wasn't. It was definitely just like a whatever thing. And so to me, it's like if you bring me Rhea Ripley and CM Punk, yeah, not a bad thing, but I don't think you need to do that. And obviously with Nikki Bella and CM Punk tag teaming, it's just not something I'm interested in 2025. But obviously AJ Lee, we know, I think most people would be excited about. And the cool thing about AJ Lee returning at WrestlePalooza now kind of sets the tone of, well, what can you do for WrestleMania next year? What can you do at Crown Jewel? What can you do at Survivor Series? What can you do in this particular situation with AJ Lee moving forward, right? And so that's why I personally am excited about this. I think this could be so good, but I think you're 100% right. If you don't deliver AJ Lee, you have failed. Now, that leads me to another question, Billy.
Okay.
And I need to hear genuinely how you feel here, because WWE ain't doing this on accident.
No.
Should AEW be worried about AJ Lee returning to WWE at WrestlePalooza?
Okay. All right. So, funny enough, you're not the first person to ask this question. Yes. And the reason why I say yes is if I'm an avid TikTok user, I'm not afraid to say it. I am. I scroll TikTok. I'm on TikTok. I'm scrolling. And I'm not saying that TikTok is the main audience. I'm not saying that X is the main audience. I'm not saying Facebook, YouTube, wherever. I'm not saying all those things are the main audience. But what I'm seeing is a slew, like a legitimate slew, of things being like, okay, I wasn't going to watch WrestlePalooza. In fact, I was going to spend the $50 on All Out. But with all these hints, and if they bring her back on Friday, because this is one thing that I said, you can't surprise people at WrestlePalooza. You can't do it there. It has to be Friday. The reason why you can't do it at WrestlePalooza is because if you wait till then you're not counter-programming, right? That's not a counter-program. Counter-program is already having the match set and making it that big of a deal, right? Look at when they brought Punk back. They brought him back on a random Rampage in AEW, and then they had his first match be at All Out, right? They have to do that same method with AJ Lee. Bring her back on this SmackDown, this random SmackDown, make it a big deal, and then let's get to the match at WrestlePalooza. So do I think that AEW has to be worried about AJ Lee? I'll be honest with you. When you think about ESPN, when you think about the big talking point of ESPN is lapsed fans, when you think about lapsed fans, what do normally, typically, most of them do now? They watch ESPN. They watch sports, right? We've all grown up a little bit. At least in my age bracket, from what I can remember, AJ Lee was one of the last people that I remember seeing on my TV when I took my break from pro wrestling in 2012 to 2016, whatever it was, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to worry about those lapsed fans that are obviously going to come back. So in my personal opinion, yeah, I do think that AEW needs to be worried. I don't think they need to be worried in the sense of like, oh, WWE is going to outsell us, like, maybe with pay-per-view numbers and maybe their subscription service goes up. Like, that was always going to be the case, whether AEW was there or not. I hate to be the bearer of bad news to everybody, but that was always
Yeah.
going to be the case. But when it comes down to a favorability standpoint, yes, you should be worried. Edge and Christian is great. Cope and Christian versus FTR is great.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that is not going to cut it. It's not. It just never was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I do think AEW in some sense needs to be worried. And shout out to Eric Scott for subscribing over on my channel. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, so here's the thing, man. I don't think AEW needs to be worried in the sense of like, I think anybody who's gonna watch AEW is gonna choose AEW.
Correct.
And anybody who's gonna choose WWE is gonna choose WWE. I think this is an opportunity though for WWE to once again steal the headlines, which I want people to be pretty like knowledgeable about this idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
WWE or not WWE, excuse me, UFC. There are tons of major players in the world of MMA. Okay.
Mhm.
PFL, they're paying people. There's, ONE FC. All these other companies don't level up to UFC in terms of how it's ran as a business. They just don't. The same could be applied to the wrestling business. No other wrestling company handles their business as best as WWE. I think there's just too much factual information to support that argument. There's too much. There's too many things that TKO is just simply doing right. And I'm not talking about like some tribalistic thing. I think when you look deep down inside, there's nobody that's going to touch the UFC and there's nobody that's going to touch the WWE.
No.
But the thing that I've learned about MMA companies is that the UFC has done a terrible job of preventing other companies from popping up. And I think WWE right now having this chokehold on wrestling, especially because they have the partnership with TNA, I think if I was a random billionaire and I seen how WWE treated AEW and all that they do to treat AEW from growing, I think as a billionaire, if I were a billionaire, I wouldn't want to enter this business. And I think WWE is actually trying to prevent other people from getting involved in professional wrestling. I think WWE knows that AEW is a niche product. There is no way they're going to stop AEW from existing. I know they won't 100% kill off AEW, but they can slow down AEW's momentum and they can control the narrative. But by doing all of that, it would prevent any other outsiders from potentially getting inside of the wrestling business. And I think that's what WWE's actual goal is. Now, the reason why I say this, though, is because what has become so cool to watch in today's day and age is the counter programming.
Mhm.
And I like it so much that I enjoy having two screens on at once. And obviously, as somebody who covers wrestling, maybe I'm obviously not the normal consumer here, but I'm going to watch both. I know going into this, it doesn't matter what AEW does, WWE will control the headlines. AJ Lee returning, Brock Lesnar, John Cena, they are going all hands on deck to take the headlines away. That is what we call the perception war. And this perception war that I've spoken about so many times is why WWE continues to be so good at what they're doing. TKO has figured out a way to do it with WWE. They have now figured out a way to do it with the UFC, but it is much more difficult to do that with actual fights because UFC doesn't have the greatest MMA fights, right?
No.
But they have more of the stars. They have more of like the publicity. The brand is strong, whatever. But you could go on Twitter and see a whole bunch of indie companies or international companies where they have way better knockouts or way better submissions or whatever it may be. But guess what? UFC controls the narrative that they are MMA. But they cannot stop these other companies from popping up. WWE has figured out a way to basically prevent all these companies from stepping up. Now, the reason why I even asked that question to begin with is because if you look at AJ Lee and her return and Brock Lesnar and all this stuff, I don't think there's anything AEW could physically do on a scale that will be more popular than what WWE does. Now, if you want to talk about match quality, I think there's a lot of things you can expect from AEW, and that's what makes AEW even survive, to be honest, is the fact that they have good match quality. But
For sure.
that's the thing, right? The argument is AEW shouldn't be worried. I saw a Twitter thread, by the way, and I'm going to bring this up to you. Somebody had a Twitter thread. I don't remember who it was. It was on my For You page, but it went viral.
Mhm.
And the Twitter thread basically was saying, hey, should AEW move nights? Or should they change the time and make it earlier? And I see a lot of people are like, no, AEW should not be WWE's bitch. They should confront them head on. And I actually just want to throw this out there, and please respond after. I think AEW should 1,000,000% go head to head with the fact that, hey, we are not going to win the headlines. WWE will be covered on ESPN. We're not going to win that war. But what we will do is hold our own and show that we are not actually afraid. And I think if AEW has that approach where they truly focus on themselves, the people who want to be fans of AEW will continue being fans of AEW. AEW actually at this point, I don't even think they should go after new fans at this point. You are a niche product. You are always going to be a niche product. You always will. You will never be bigger than WWE, and that's okay. That's actually better for your product. Keep giving your friends and fans and everybody who watches you, give them what they like, and then move forward. Because, as you noticed in recent months, what has AEW been a lot better about? Not focusing on WWE.
For sure,
And
really pulling that back. Yeah.
I've given TK his credit. Even when he's answering questions about counter programming and stuff, he says, "Hey, I watch all wrestling and I enjoy all wrestling. I'm focused on AEW, and hopefully you guys can see that." And when I see Tony Khan take these more like mature responses, it's like, okay, you're no longer fueling the tribalism. Your fans are tribalistic, but you're no longer fueling the tribalism. You're focused on your product, and guess what? It actually shows in your product.
For sure.
So to me, Tony Khan should not be worried about AEW beating WWE here. WWE is going to win. Naturally, that's what's going to happen. There's not a chance in hell that AEW beats WWE WrestlePalooza. But what they could do is put on such a great show that the people who are specifically watching AEW will be thrilled. And for the people like me who's watching both, I'm going to be happy if I get 2 really good pay-per-views. Make sense?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, you're right. It's AEW needs to focus on AEW, which they have been a lot better about recently. I think that's fair to say, and I feel like if you're not seeing that they're being better about themselves, then you're just not watching the product, which is also okay. But at the end of the day, yeah, no, I mean, the thing about it is they need to focus on them, focus on their fans, focus on the things that they're doing. WWE is a conglomerate at the end of the day. That's what they're always going to be. I know people love to argue, oh, well, this is better than this is better than this, and you're allowed to have those feelings and those opinions. But facts matter, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Facts are a real thing that genuinely matter at the end of the day. And the fact of the matter is WWE is a much larger business than AEW, right? AEW hasn't had the time. AEW hasn't had the momentum. AEW hasn't had necessarily, if you really think about it, anything that WWE has had. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that because kind of like you said, you know, these companies are allowed to exist. There's nothing wrong with them existing. There's nothing wrong with it. It is perfectly fine. In fact, me personally, I love that AEW exists. Because I'll tell you what, guess what? I'm a pro wrestling fan, right? Guess who I'm a pro wrestling fan of? I'm a pro wrestling fan of Will Ospreay, right? And I can't watch Will Ospreay in the WWE right now, so guess who I have to go watch? I have to go watch AEW because I'm a fan of Will Ospreay. Okay, I'm a fan of MJF, right? Where is the only place that I can find MJF right now?
AEW.
AEW. So therefore, it makes me happy that these companies exist. But just look at the facts and understand the facts. And listen, these guys, they're the smaller company. It's okay. I know, you know, it's a corporate. WWE is the corporate machine. They have the backing. AEW doesn't have that backing. It's backed by, you can argue 2 humans, whether, you know, Tony and his dad or just Tony himself, whatever.
No.
Right? It's only backed by those 2 guys. So only 2 humans can do so much, right? Until you get halted and you come to a standstill, right? I know a lot of people make the argument online like, oh, he needs to go hire a writing team. Tony Khan, at the end of the day, doesn't have to do sorry for cussing, fucking anything.
Yeah.
That man can book his show however the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
And if that's what his fans like, more to him. You know, so everybody who's out there, oh, Tony needs to do this, Tony needs to do that, and he doesn't have to do anything. We can.
And I don't want him to.
Right? Yeah.
But I wouldn't even want that. I would want him. Hey, go head to head.
Yeah.
Like go head to head. Put on a good product. Let your fans be fans of your product.
And
show
let
the
the
world that
people
you're not
decide.
afraid of WWE.
And let the people decide.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Like it's you already know you're going to lose. You're not going to win. You're gonna still perform well. WWE might cut into your pay-per-views possibly, but pay-per-view buys. But look, I don't think there's anything wrong with standing your ground. And then at the end of the day, when you're in that post-media scrum, when people ask you about WWE WrestlePalooza counter programming, say, hey, no, I didn't have a chance to watch it obviously because we were doing this. You
Hmm.
know, congratulations to them for their deal with ESPN. But I'm focused on AEW. I thought we delivered one of our best shows of the year. And it's like Tony Khan, like I said, I give Tony Khan a lot of props because these were things that, especially years ago, I was very harsh on it because I would say Tony Khan probably shouldn't answer questions the way he was answering questions because it didn't help his business. And at the end of the day, like Tony Khan is a fan. I always respect somebody who gets into the wrestling business because they're actually a fan of the wrestling business.
Correct.
There's too many carnies with money who want to get in and they fail because they don't actually love wrestling. They see it as a business.
Correct.
Tony Khan truly is a fan of wrestling and he is a businessman. So for him, there is that passion. He's made a lot of mistakes. He's made a million mistakes since starting. That's expected. But the reality is, one of the things you could prevent is sometimes how you respond. And I think Tony Khan has been so good about responding. But if you look at not only his product, it has actually improved.
For sure.
Like, I actually, this has nothing to do with AJ Lee, but like the other day I was watching Collision and I was like, man, Collision I feel like has just been so much better spinning off of stories and things happening on Dynamite in the last like 2 months. And then of course we have the vignette
Hologram.
after for holograms, dark evil
I love.
opposing
Yep.
opposing character, right? And it's so crazy because I swear, dude, I posted on Twitter, I literally just said fire. El Clone is being played by Arez, I think was the name
Hmm.
of the luchador. But El Clone is like this evil version of hologram. Now, some people really hate this and they hate the fact that I like it. But dude, this is the kind of shit that I like in wrestling. You know, it's like,
Yeah, dude.
but
It's so simple.
yeah, it's like simple shit. And like people kind of got mad at me and they're like, oh my God, bro, like how can you say this is fire? Because I think it's fire. And but that's the good thing. Like the thing is, like, when I watch a product that's catered to me, I feel much better about it. And I feel
Right.
like Tony Khan has been doing that. And I feel like WWE's been doing that. And that's why I think our mood, especially starting off the show today, I was very clear. Like, dude, I just feel so much better about wrestling in general. You know, it's weird. Like, you had a lot of stuff going on. And then I try to do a couple live streams solo here and there. But I wasn't enjoying wrestling as much as I was. And yes, we could have talked and we could have reviewed
For
things and
sure.
talked about things. And they would have been great discussions for sure. But it's like, am I really enjoying what I'm watching right now? And I feel like WWE and AEW in that time period has been doing some cool stuff, but I just felt like me personally, I was not like really enjoying it. Now, as I continue to watch and watch and watch, I'm happy. So it's like, yeah, dude, WrestlePalooza, give me WrestlePalooza, give me AEW All Out. Tony Khan, you know what? WWE stacking the deck. They got Brock Lesnar, they got AJ Lee. I don't care if the internet hates Brock Lesnar, because guess what? There's like 40,000 paying fans that want to see Brock Lesnar. Like, it's not for me to be the judge, right? It's just for me to sit back and observe and watch. And it's very clear WWE's going to stack the deck. So if AEW puts out a shit card, then they're really screwed. But if they put out a good product against WWE, you're not going to be talked about more than WWE, but at least you're fulfilling your fans and you're making your fans feel like they got their money's worth, right?
For sure.
And you know, let's just call it what it is too. I think people can't forget about this aspect of things. Um, WWE on Netflix, very big deal. WWE WrestleMania, very big deal. Like there's certain marquee events. Now, when they went first on Peacock, very big deal. Now this is their first ESPN. They're gonna treat this like WrestleMania. They're gonna treat this like the
Yeah.
big deal. We're
Yeah.
gonna see ESPN heavily involved. That's okay. That's what's expected. What makes me happy is now we're going to have two companies really go at it, and I don't think Tony Khan needs to worry, and I don't think WWE needs to worry about what AEW is doing. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a good job. AEW, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a good job, and
Hmm.
fucking call it a day and move on.
For sure, yeah, it's so funny. The one thing when you were just talking about like how big WrestlePalooza may be, it's so funny to think that like 3 weeks ago, or maybe what 2 weeks ago, when this it might have been 2 or 3 weeks ago, I can't necessarily remember, but when this like first popped up, everybody was like, "Oh, this is gonna be dog shit," right? Because we never expected
Yeah.
WWE to walk just legitimately walk directly into the ESPN deal so quickly. You know, everybody was like, "Oh, it's going to be 2026." really when they, start to do the things. And then obviously we get the news that they're about to do it here. And it's just so funny how gradually, over 3 weeks' time, that WWE turned something that essentially everybody was like, oh, yeah, I'm not watching this. This means nothing to me. This is a filler thing. And then the thing about it is this is how WWE succeeds, right? Is they and they haven't yet, but John Cena and Brock Lesnar, right? That's a very touchy match. I think that's fair to say. The match already within itself, people are, some people like Brock, some people don't, right? Okay.
Yeah.
That's a very touchy subject. But instead, what do? Okay, well, we're going to tease AJ Lee, who is adored by legitimately everybody. So everybody who just said they're not watching because of Brock Lesnar, guess what they're going to do now? They're going to tune in. And it blows my mind how WWE was able to pull that off in a span of 3 weeks.
Well, I'll tell you how though.
Yeah.
With social media, and especially particularly X, I don't use X as much anymore. I personally lay off of it. I don't think anything is genuine.
Yeah, thankfully I've never been like a frequent user of that app.
Yeah, I've definitely toned down my usage. I am prioritizing my YouTube channel and my live streams and my content and my TikTok and all these things.
Yes, sir.
I've gone away from social media a little bit, and sure, that has a little bit of an impact on things. But I think one, I enjoy wrestling the less that I'm actually physically on those things. But two, I think with the Brock Lesnar situation, it's a lot of people want to talk about things. We've talked about this before. There's a lot of information out there, and there's also a lot of misinformation out there.
Correct.
We have not seen everything. We don't know everything. Why are we pretending? Why are people making statements that are like as if they're true without actually knowing? And I feel like with Brock Lesnar's situation, we saw his return, and we saw a lot of people do this where the fans in attendance went crazy for it.
Yeah.
That was a lot of people who paid WWE's expensive ass prices, and they were excited about it. So deep down inside, WrestlePalooza is already a major success with ticket sales, and they haven't even revealed Brock Lesnar. How WWE introduces that match, they're being very careful because they're not dumb. They understand the social climate. But I think WWE knows the minute that they reveal Brock Lesnar, more seats are going to be opened up because they are going to sell tickets. I think it's not about fake outrage or anything, but I do think we are in a stage where social media, people are not saying things to actually be truthful. I think they are saying things to be popular. Correct. One of the reasons why people tend to watch the Ango Show live with us is because you are getting raw opinions. You're not going to agree with everything and you're not going to like everything, but you are getting truthful opinions. And I think on social media, people want to talk about Brock like as if they know everything and as if everything they're saying is 100% true. And then when the fact checkers come out and then they don't like it, whatever it may be, I'm not making excuses for anything. But what I'm saying is I don't think a lot of the reaction is actually genuine. And the reason for that is because there was a lot of people and PW Finesse is a great one. Shout out to PW Finesse because I'll drop names too. Don't sit there and get mad on Twitter and boycott and say you're going to boycott. And then after 12 hours, you're back watching the show, constantly throwing shade on whatever the product is. If you're boycotting it, then how would you know what's going on? How did you watch it to have a reaction? You're doing it for Twitter. You're doing it to be liked on Twitter. Because basically what Twitter is a whole bunch of people from high school who didn't get invited to the prom after party who are looking to feel validated by their own opinion. And it's silly. And at the end of the day, what it really has come down to is Brock Lesnar is going to move tickets. People are interested in Brock Lesnar. On a moral compass, on a personal level, people have the right to decide how they feel, how they want. I'm not saying yes. I'm not saying no. But the truth is, people who are buying tickets are excusing it. And they're willing to watch and they're willing to tune in. At the end of the day, WWE is aware of that. But WWE is also aware of the social media climate as well. So they're very careful with it. But as you said, if you announce AJ Lee, then it's like, oh wow, what happened to all these people boycotting
Well,
Brock
that's
Lesnar?
yeah,
WWE's
that's
so bad, right?
yeah, that's kind of what I kind of giggle at, right? Like everybody's
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that they did this, blah blah blah. They're the worst, da da da. I can't believe WWE would ever do this. They suck." Da, da, da. And then, 2 weeks in, here we are in a much different, climate, right?
Yeah.
Where it's, "Oh my god, AJ Lee's coming back. I can't believe she's going to come back. I can't believe she's going to come back." Well, last week, and I'm not saying you're wrong for this. I understand, but WWE were the demons, right?
Yeah.
They were the worst thing that's ever happened to pro wrestling. We're boycotting. We're going to AEW or MLW or whoever, right?
Yeah.
And I find it comical because, we talk about the social climate and the social climate that we live in. When the truth of the matter is, the social climate that we live in is minute by minute. Things change literally minute by minute, not just like headlines. No, people change by the minute. People no longer. I think the last live stream that we did, we talked about this, but people no longer think for themselves. They stopped doing that. They stopped. It's one thing to take advice. It's one thing to hear somebody's opinion. But to legitimately take somebody's opinion and spew the exact same opinion right out of your mouth blows my mind.
Yeah.
And then a week later have to come back and be like, "Oh man, did I say it like that? I didn't mean to say it like that. What I really meant was, like, dude, it blows my mind, and it doesn't make sense to me, and I'll never understand people for that reason alone. But yeah, no, man, when it comes down to it, people will just, MJF, he cut that promo so many years ago, right? Your opinions, at the drop of a dime. It couldn't ring any more true, whether it be AEW, whether it be WWE. People just love to ring certain opinions, everybody wants to be the moral police, right?
Yeah.
And everybody wants to go out there and just be right about everything. And it's like, you're not going to be. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this is real life. And in real life, you're never going to be right. None of us are perfect. And I'll tell you what, just to give everybody a glimpse of what I'm talking about, I don't like Brock Lesnar. I don't. I disagree with the morals. There you go, right? But I am willing to sit here and be like, okay, well, I'm not the fucking moral police. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what's right and what's wrong. I'm not a fucking judge. I'm not none of that. I don't know anything. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. And I'm not looking to know anything, right?
Yeah.
I'm just going to watch the show as it is.
Because you're watching a wrestling TV show. Yeah.
Boom. Boom. If I wanted to watch Fox News or CNN, I promise you I'd do it.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I get it. I get it. I think
Yeah.
it's very fair. We did get a couple super chats along the way, and I do apologize, guys, because normally we read the super chats as they come in, but we've just been deep in discussion. We do have a lot more to talk about.
For sure.
I want to give a shout out to Keith B. He dropped a $1 super chat, but he didn't leave a comment with it. But shout out to Keith. Brian McCaddy dropped a $5 super chat. He says the only thing AEW could try and do to counter AJ Lee is bring Beth in for Copeland. It's an interesting idea. I don't think Beth Phoenix is going to be as big of a deal as AJ Lee, just because of the fact that we saw Beth Phoenix in recent years in some capacity with WWE, especially with like the Judgment Day stuff with Edge and whatever. But I will say this. I think AEW should have brought Beth Phoenix in just in general, just because I feel like she would be a great coach and advisor to the women's division. So if they wanted to, Beth Phoenix is not going to steal the headlines, but yeah, I think Beth Phoenix being involved in AEW in general, I've said for years, would be a great idea. Even when Edge left WWE and went to AEW, I always said they should bring her in. So it's not going to really hurt WWE by bringing her in, but I would like to see her come into AEW, and if that's when they want to do it, I think that would be kind of fun. I'm not opposed to that. What do you think, Billy?
Yeah, no, I'm not opposed to it either. Obviously, this one's kind of simple, right? Beth Phoenix doesn't have the gravitational pull, literally, that AJ Lee has. AJ Lee, at this point, feels like a myth. They did Edge and Beth Phoenix in WWE only a couple years ago, right? It doesn't feel as mythy as AJ Lee. So I don't
Yeah.
think it gravitates. Could it be something big? For sure. Absolutely. Do I think it's ultimately going to win AEW over with the fans? No, I don't. People are going to tune into AJ Lee before they tune into Beth Phoenix, and that's just the raw actual facts. So yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
we're over here. We're over here on my channel. I decided to do something cool with my subscribers. We started a fantasy football league. So we have our draft today before my NXT watch along tonight. Boom, boom, boom. I don't think you heard me.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I didn't think you heard me.
What'd you say?
No, I said, dude, we were over here chilling with. I'm over here chilling, and we're talking. I'm doing something really cool with my subscribers. We're doing a fantasy football league, and we're doing the
That's
draft
cool.
today.
Very cool.
Yeah, dude.
I like to hear that. That's fun.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Excited for football season, dude.
I know, right?
Somebody said.
I love fall season, bro. I love it.
So do I. Nats fan, I just wanted to bring this up real fast. What if Brie Bella debuts in ring against the Death Riders? Do you think that could potentially be a counter-programming situation?
No, I think
No.
she's back to WWE.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think the AEW sickos would like that, anyways. To be honest.
No, they would. I mean, maybe they would because it's Bryan Danielson's wife. And I feel like just due to, this is Bryan Danielson's wife, and we love Bryan Danielson, so we'll do anything
I don't
for
think
him.
that's happening. I don't think that's happening.
I don't think
Shout
so either.
out to. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I don't think so either.
Yeah. Shout out to Brian McCaddy for that super chat. David Primero dropped $1.99. Bring AJ Lee back. If not, WWE is done for. I think that's a little dramatic.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say done for him. Am I gonna be pissed personally? Yes.
Yeah. I'd be upset.
Yeah.
Like we were saying earlier, if it's like Rhea Ripley or Nikki Bella, I would be upset.
Yeah. No, I feel like if it's Rhea Ripley, if it's Nikki Bella, if it's Bailey, I'd be pissed. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I will tell you, in my personal opinion, it would ruin things for me as a watcher, kind of like you talked about a little bit ago. Kind of having two big letdowns in the same calendar year would kind of suck.
Yeah.
So WWE really has to be careful with this one, and they really got to watch how they maneuver it. I think WWE is aware of that. Let's be real here. Triple H, no matter how much he hates the internet, he watches the internet, right? He's not dumb. And at the end of the day, he's aware. He knows.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That is true. That is very true.
Yeah.
Excuse me, 1 second.
You're good. Shout out to that boy Darth Bane.
I should start bringing water to when I live stream because we just talk and I just, dry throat.
I have a Gatorade downstairs, and I was like, man, I should have brought it up because I've been sitting here thinking to myself this whole time. I'm like, man, it would be great if my mouth wasn't as dry as it is right now. So I could,
I know.
like it sucks.
Crazy, bro. You never know what happens live, but
No,
when you're having good conversation, you forget to breathe while you're talking.
Forget to breathe is insane, bro.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Shout out to David Primero for the super chat. Keith B did drop a $5 super chat and actually had a comment. You mentioned Brock Lesnar. The worst thing WWE could have done was to bring back Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, sorry, I'm just kind of taking this one over. I'm sorry. I know you're
Go ahead,
about
do
to
it.
talk. Yeah, I in some senses and in some cases agree, right? I just said a minute ago, I am not a Brock Lesnar fan. I'm not. I morally, I don't align with him, when it comes down to everything, and I've read on things and I've created my own opinions, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I still tune in, right? I tune in because Brock Lesnar isn't the end-all, be-all of my pro wrestling, right?
Yeah.
He is not, here's the thing. Will I tune in and see his match and watch? For sure, right? Because I'm watching the show, right? So, therefore, to say that is the worst thing WWE has ever done, you have to ask yourself the question first, have I stopped watching WWE because of this? If not, then is that the worst thing that they've ever done?
Yeah.
That's the reality there. You can have that opinion and say it and you know, push it out into the world and whatever. At the end of the day, can it really be the worst thing if you're still tuning in on Monday, Tuesday, Friday, et cetera, et cetera? You know what I mean?
Well, the problem is so many people said, you know, with the Brock Lesnar thing is like, I'm done. I'm boycotting. And then it's like, well, why are you still tweeting about Raw the day after? Why are you still watching? Wait, why are you now complaining about something else?
Correct.
Because why would you complain about something else? You stopped watching it. That shouldn't even matter because you were
Right.
mad about this.
Right.
We don't live in a world where people truly stand on their opinions. And that's why I said I just genuinely believe with social media, I don't think people are true. I'm not saying there's not people that don't exist that do this, like where they truly don't boycott. I think some people do. But I don't think that's a large percentage of the people on social media.
No.
And that's okay. You know why that's okay? Because I've learned to accept it. I've learned to accept it for so many years. I mean, there's been so much outrage. I mean, even Ryan Satin at this point is putting out tweets about things with WWE. AJ Lee wasn't really a big fan, blah, blah. It's like, okay, no, that's cool. I get it. Everything that like you would have been happy about before, now you're not happy about it because you're not really a fan of CM Punk anymore or whatever. It's like, that's cool. You know, at the end of the day, people are going to have their own opinions. They're going to tweet their own stuff. And I've learned to realize that most people aren't just being authentic. And, you know, I'm not saying you guys have to like my opinions.
Nope.
I've made that pretty clear for my entire run doing YouTube. You're not going to like my opinions, and I don't want you to like every opinion that I have. But just understand it's my opinion. I'm going to stand on my own. You have never seen me switch up in the last 6 years that AEW has been around. I'm proud of that. Why? Because I truly stand on my own opinion. So, like, some people will, some people won't, and you've just grown to accept it the way it is. That's the way the world works, and you can't really buy too much into it, and you can't give it too much attention. But to be fair, Keith, regarding your super chat, whether I like Brock Lesnar or don't like Brock Lesnar doesn't matter, because analyzing the situation, there are a lot of people who truly just don't give a shit. And at the end of the day, those are the people that are buying the tickets, and those are the people that WWE wants to buy tickets. So
that's who they cater to
not
at the end of the day.
Yeah, they cater to the actual consumers who spend money, and that's what makes TKO such a smart business. You know, they really just like, you know, the thing is, it's like you have people, and I've seen this with my own eyes, where you have people like, hey, I'm not cool with Brock Lesnar, but then here they are tweeting about Conor McGregor potentially fighting at the White House. It's like, where's your moral compass? Hold on. Where's your moral compass? You guys have learned to understand that not everything, you know, it is the way it is.
Right.
But I understand why WWE is bringing back Brock. I understand why Brock. Oh, trust me, ESPN immediately after.
For sure.
When they're covering that Brock Lesnar stuff like crazy. Why? Because ESPN no longer cares. So
and the crazy part is like, you know who's gonna be, dude. Stephen A. Smith is gonna be there. He's gonna talk about it. That's a huge name, right?
Yeah.
WWE knows what they're doing. Come on, guys. Let's not be foolish. Let's not be silly. Let's not be stupid. WWE knows what they're doing. Like you just said, bro, at the end of the day, the last thing, WWE, the only thing that they really care about is that consumer. Because we're going to watch no matter what. Dude, they know that the people online hating on them are going to watch.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? To everybody who's, this is it. I'm done. When? Till tomorrow? You done for the next 6 hours because the show ended? Like, come on. Let's be so for real right now. Like, it blows my mind. You know, just kind of, you know, you threw a couple names out there. This man's been dropping names all day.
There's a list of them. I don't care. I think everybody wants to put on a performance. That's what it is.
Yes,
Everybody's putting on a performance.
Everything is a performance. That is the easiest way to put it. It blows my mind. I find it hilarious at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think it's funny. I laugh. I joke. But at the end of the day, it's pro wrestling, man. It's pro wrestling.
I think it's really easy if I really, really, really wanted to, like, and I've told this before, but like, if I really wanted to just fake everything for social media, I could, because I think a lot of people, I think it's actually much easier being performative than it is being authentic.
Correct.
So for me, it's like I could see how people do it and why people do it, but
Yeah,
like,
because being
I,
performative, you don't have to think for yourself. You don't have to think
yeah,
outside of the box. You don't
yeah,
have to like all the opinions are already there for you.
yeah, exactly. So
They already exist.
there's just a lot to it. Shout out to Keith B for the super chat. Thank you for the $5 super chat, my friend. Luke Newman dropping $1.99. He says, "I wish AEW did more with Josh Alexander." Um, yeah, I mean, it was kind of written on the wall the minute that he went there, kind of how it would be. I like Josh Alexander a lot as a performer. I don't know what it is about AEW and the way that they book former TNA talent. I think I have a very hard time understanding. Um, one thing that I was really upset with AEW about was like bringing Wardlow into the Don Callis family, and Josh Alexander has been in the Don Callis family, and there's just a lot of guys in this group, but like I don't think a lot of them have substance. Kyle Fletcher, on the other hand, is one of the goats. I really love him, so it's like I don't know, man. Like there's some stuff that's happening in this group. I'm a huge fan of Konosuke Takeshita. I wish there was a lot more being done with a lot of the guys individually in the group,
Correct.
as far as them
That's
all
the
being in the group.
that's the problem. That's the key kicker.
Yeah. Um, so it's just that's kind of how I feel about it, which kind of sucks. Luke Newman did follow up with two more super chats on the same thing. He said, $1.99. I feel like Josh Alexander is just another guy. He had a spelling mistake on that one, so he dropped another $1.99 to correct the spelling mistake. But basically, Luke Newman is saying, I feel like Josh Alexander is just another guy. And he is. Um, and the thing is, it's kind of hard when somebody comes in at the top of a company and then they go to another company and they're just another guy. I think it sucks.
For sure.
Whether people agree, disagree, go off, I don't care. My point is, we saw this happen, with Taya Valkyrie and Deanna Purrazzo. They were also at the top of TNA, came to AEW, Ring of Honor. They're not really relevant in any aspect. Josh Alexander's not really relevant in any aspect.
Yeah.
But I think one thing I will say is this. Long term, there's always a way to flip it. Because Swerve Strickland came to AEW and was just another guy, and eventually they figured it out. So there is proof that Tony Khan could eventually figure it out.
For sure.
But I just think as of right now, I'm not a fan of the way they're pushing him or the way they're utilizing him. And that sucks, right? Like, I think, you can have the argument with Speedball Mike Bailey, X Division champion in TNA, wasn't really at the top of the card, but a great performer. He comes to AEW, and he just has great matches. Anybody who's ever known, everybody knows that's his thing. He's just a good wrestler. Win or lose, it doesn't really matter. You just enjoy watching him. So him going to AEW felt like a lateral move.
For
Josh
sure.
Alexander going to AEW kind of felt like a downward issue.
Yeah, like it was
Yeah.
a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Shout out to Luke Newman. Billy, I want to touch on something. I did talk about it in today's video.
Okay.
So I did get a video out earlier this morning for the morning upload, and there was a report that the Righteous are headed to WWE. So I wanted to talk to you about this. Basically, with where we're at in the situation, the Righteous are apparently joining WWE. Fightful had made the report that the Righteous are basically telling indie companies, hey, like, we're no longer taking bookings. The belief is that they will be joining the WWE in the near future. Now, one thing that's really not being talked about is Karrion Kross.
For sure.
He hasn't re-signed with the company, but he obviously teased a lot of stuff with the Righteous. Do you think at maybe any point the Righteous do join WWE, but this is also the way WWE brings back Karrion Kross?
Yes and no, right? I feel a little iffy towards it. I think it's tough, right? Because it feels like they've kind of worked. I mean, if this is a work, they've worked us to oblivion. You know what I'm saying? Is it something that I'd like to see? Of course. I'd love to see Karrion Kross with the Righteous. We've talked about it numerous times, right? That's something that you and I personally have sat on this channel numerous times having conversations about. When truth of the matter is I do think there's it feels untelling right now, but them signing with the WWE is a big sign that Karrion Kross is kind of lingering in the background. The problem is it feels like something's still off without Scarlett. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
Knowing now that WWE maybe didn't want Scarlett, I genuinely, who am I to tell somebody that they're wrong, right? Who am I to say, oh man, you're wrong for this. You know, if you chose to leave WWE because they weren't doing right by your wife, am I wrong for saying that about a person? Yes, I believe I am, because who am I to say that, right?
Yeah.
So it's such a slippery slope. While yes, I would love to see Carrion, and I do think that if it is a work, it's awesome, and they've literally worked us to oblivion. I do also believe that there is some truth to it, that, you know, obviously a deal is going to have to probably be worked out, and then maybe they'll say it was a work or whatever. I don't know. But the
I don't
right
think it's work. He did an
yeah.
interview. He did an interview with another content creator who I won't name. But I mean, he's been very
yeah, I think I know who you're talking about.
he's been very hell bent on making it pretty clear that it's not a work. He would have never worked anybody based on the. It's a like working everybody about losing your job is just not something he feels good about doing. The carrying cross thing is interesting though, because the We Went Cross social media movement lasted 3 days, and then nothing's really happened. So and again, it goes to show you that social media just isn't the end all be all of everything, and you can't listen to it. But I definitely feel as if like right now when you look at the Righteous coming in, Vinny and Dutch, man, like these guys, there was, you know, Bray Wyatt was going to work with them. Karrion Kross, they were going to do an extension of the Y6 with Karrion Kross and the Righteous on Raw, and then SmackDown was going to have the Y6, and they were going to do like a whole like freaking universe of it, which is crazy to think about. So obviously now that there's talks of them joining WWE again, and this time they're actually headed there, I'm excited because I like these guys. Again, this was another tag team in AEW who just never really got that opportunity. But anybody who used to watch Ring of Honor, especially when it was owned by Sinclair, they know how good these guys are. So I'm excited to see what they do. Obviously in WWE, I think there's a lot there that's a possibility.
For sure.
And I'll kind of leave it at that. But just a very exciting time right now for wrestling, dude. I feel like we watched Raw yesterday, and there was a lot of things with WWE that I thought they did a really good job with, and they're moving things along. And I feel like this week in particular, I feel very excited to see what happens with Obafemi and Ricky Starks. I'm very excited to see what Dynamite does, because I feel like as we get closer to All Out, this is when it really has to start really dramatically increasing the excitement for All Out. So I think AEW might have some stuff up their sleeve. I think TNA as well. We saw Ash by Elegance, who is now the Knockouts champion. So like,
Correct.
I want to see how they continue to follow up on that with Thursday. And then of course SmackDown in Chicago. Like I'm geeked about that, and I think it's dope. Like it should be a good week. I think it's really fun, honestly. I think what I love more too, Billy. I enjoyed our conversation today. Obviously, I'm going to be excited. I'll be excited for tomorrow as well.
Me too.
But I think one of the things that I'm just really happy about is like when people aren't sitting here trying to tell you what you have to enjoy, you end up enjoying it a lot more. And I think there's a lot of people, and I notice in the chat very often it happens. There's always somebody who's their main job is to come in the chat and try to tell everybody that they're wrong for feeling the way that they do. They want to be argumentative. And I feel like it's much more peaceful when I sit here and talk with you and we talk about wrestling, because we don't try to sway each other's opinion.
Nope.
But I think it's a lot more fun when you actually just watch wrestling without having some geek tell you that you're wrong for liking what you like.
Yeah.
And so I'm geeked about what we have this week. I feel like this should be.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. The day I'm looking forward to, brother, is Friday. Friday, there's going to be a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I feel like Friday is going to be a lot to talk about. And then, man, there's just so much going on. And it's September. Next month, we got Bound for Glory. And, like, TNA is making some strides there. And just overall, it's just a good feeling. And I'm very excited about it. And, it is what it is. And, shout out to everybody joining us, and shout out to everybody. There was a last minute super chat by Luke Newman, actually. So I apologize.
Okay.
He dropped $2. He says, I think Private Party will sign with WWE soon. I think, the fact that they're not on AEW television is criminal, but it's so crazy too, because the Young Bucks right now have become such a fun part of AEW. This gimmick that they're doing, it's like, man, why can't we get Private Party and Young Bucks with this gimmick that the Young Bucks have and the Private Party gimmick that they have? Like, I just want to see it
criminal.
again. It's not
It's
going to
criminal.
happen.
It's criminal.
Um, but I'm geeked, man. I feel like it should be fun, and yeah, I think Private Party will go to NXT, and now that Hank and Tank have dropped the belts to Dark State, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that tag team division, and
For sure.
Private Party going to NXT could be a really good move, and yeah, man, this will be huge. And then of course Street Profits are teasing a breakup, so I want to see what they do with that on Friday. It's just
Yep.
like there's a lot of things. If you guys actually watch the shows, there's a lot of things to be excited about. There's a lot of
A
moving
lot.
pieces to these stories, so.
A lot. A lot. A lot. A lot.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody in the chat that came through today. Shout out to everybody watching on X as well. We had a couple hundred viewers today, which is always huge. Some last minute thoughts. Drake did a podcast with that Bobby Altoff girl again,
Oh no.
where
For
they're like
real?
in bed.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting clipped right now. Everybody's aggregating it, but he's like, my FYP page is just all Rhea Ripley. She's a wrestler. She's like my muse, but I'm the opposite of everything that she likes. And Drake just discovered WWE, I feel like,
Well,
which is so funny.
He was there in Toronto.
Yeah,
at
but now
Elimination Chamber.
he only came to WWE in Toronto because of Lil Yachty.
Right.
So, this is the thing. That's another thing that makes WWE so big. It's like these celebrities be talking about it randomly
Post
on
Malone was
podcasts.
there the other day at Clash in Paris.
Yeah, so I mean, it's cool. I like seeing this kind of stuff.
Of
And
course. Of course.
Drake has an obsession with Rhea Ripley, which is
Sick.
interesting. But
Sick.
yeah, shout out
Because
to
it's
everybody
like-
that came through.
I have to
Oh,
say
go
real
ahead, go
fast. I was about to say because the obsession with Rhea Ripley, it's like if you go back and look at anybody's chat, like so is everybody else's. Like he's just a normal dude.
Yeah. It is what it is, man.
Right.
It's,
Right. Right.
Drake is the biggest artist. I mean, I think you can make an argument since Michael Jackson.
For sure.
Ooh, hot take.
That's
But,
hot. That's hot.
That's a hot take. I got hot takes for every industry, bro.
I was about to say save that for my other YouTube channel, just Billy Reacts.
Oh, snap. Oh, man. Guys, it's 1:03 p.m. We went over an hour. Very beautiful, healthy discussion. A lot of people in the chat contributing. Love you guys. Shout out to Luke Newman for his numerous super chats. Shout out to Keith B for his super chat. David Primero. Thank you guys all for supporting the show and for all of your guys' super chats. We will be back tomorrow. We did hit our super chat goal. Shout out to all the members who have been joining us as well. Make sure you guys check out Billy. Billy, are you doing a watch along tonight for NXT?
Yes, sir. And we are starting the watch along at 6:30 because right beforehand we're going to be doing a fantasy draft. So
So you're gonna do that on the live stream?
Yeah, we're gonna do it on the live stream.
Bet.
Yeah.
Do you guys have room for one more?
Dude, do you want to join?
I kind of want to do fantasy football.
Bro, yeah, please join, dude. We'd love to
Send me
have
the
you.
link.
Yeah, I'll send you the link right after we get off this.
Send me the link. But if you guys aren't active, I'm not doing it.
I'm
It's
here
gotta
to
be
tell
active.
I'm here to tell you I'm gonna be active with it. I'm gonna be keeping up with it and whatnot. So, all right, cool. We got our 10th member. There he is.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys check out Billy TKO on YouTube and TikTok live tonight for the Raw Watch Along. He'll be starting it off early at 6:30 because of fantasy football. I think that'll be fun. I'm going to
Yeah.
join in. Send me that link.
Gotcha.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Yango Show.